Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the spring session of COJO 121, Creating the Creators. Um, so this video is just an introduction to what the class objectives are and how we're going to go about meeting those objectives. Okay, so to start, we're going to be looking at communication, or specifically interpersonal communication, in the modern, very media-rich communication environment or communication ecology. Okay, there's some really specific things that people who look at this have noticed about this communication environment that we're in, and one of them is that it has produced really disconnected groups of people who communicate a lot among themselves. And this semester, we're going to talk a lot about what the consequences are when people communicate within groups with very little outside group communication. And we're going to talk about how the different channels that we now have available to us, from the any number of broadcast media stations that are out there, to the social media we use, to in-person, face-to-face communication. Let's see. All right, so the class objectives are going to be to identify and describe key aspects of the interpersonal communication process. Okay? And we're going to do that through a lot of different channels: YouTube, Zoom, Twitter, a number, Facebook, any number of channels that you as the students are interested in will explore. Okay, and then we're going to connect different communication theories to the practice of speaking publicly. And finally, we're going to demonstrate an understanding of the basic structure of communication process in bridging relational language barriers, which just means that we're going to demonstrate that we can use these communication theories and practices to get to connect across differences of people and ways of thinking. All right, so classroom management. In other words, how we're going to run the class this semester. We're going to use Blackboard for course announcements. So you're going to will have gotten an announcement on Blackboard that told you about this video. And anything basically that I want to tell everybody in the class, I'm going to send out through Blackboard. All right. The other important document that we'll use is called the class notes document. That's a Google document that all of you have privileges on to make comments. And it's where every week I put the most current information. So all the resources that you could want for the week's worth of work, all the resources, all the links to activities, etc., are going to be on this one class notes document. So if there's anything you try to keep track of this semester for this class, it's that document. You could go to that every week and it will help you know what you're supposed to be doing for the week. Also, you can email me anytime you want. So Google Classroom is how we're going to manage all of our work. So that's where you'll find assignments, resources. That's where I'll house all that stuff. You could go there and find everything that you would find in the class notes document. There are just two different places that I put it. The class notes document is updated every week. So is the Google Classroom. Zoom is the other tool that we'll use a lot of, and that's for one-on-one meetings that we have, and for a couple of the speeches that we do in the class. So speaking of speeches, let's move into the activities that we'll be doing. I'll try to. Okay, so activities and grading. So let me just say that with all of these activities, the goal is to learn how to self-critique yourselves so that into the future, as communication changes, which it most certainly will, given all the innovation that's going on with it right now, that you know how to constantly be aware of what your communication norms are doing to you. So how we communicate is how we bring in information from the external world. We're going to go over this a lot, but the ways that we choose to communicate, and it is a choice, dictate what information we can bring in. And that has impacts on how our societies work. And so my goal with this class is to get you to learn how to assess the ways you're communicating and what impacts that is having on you and your world, and then make strategic choices based on your own personal values on what you want to do with those communication practices. So that brings up another point in this class, which is we're going to be talking, communication is how we shape our identities. It's how we learn who we are relative to everything else in the world. Okay, this class is going to talk about the processes that we do that through. It's not going to assess the values that we each independently come up with or use to guide our use of these processes. Okay, we're going to talk about those values. They'll come up, and we just need to be constantly respectful of one another with the values. So that will come up more in the class too. So we'll move on from that. Oh, actual grading. Okay. So I'm not big on summative grades. My goal is for you to learn how to self-critique yourself and to constantly be improving through the class. Okay. So I de-emphasize grades or points for grades, but there are points in the class. Okay. The beginning activities are each in the next couple of weeks worth 80 points. And then you'll notice that there's another set of platform and context activities. Those terms will make more sense if you read the syllabus and as we move on. And then you'll see down below that the primary activities. These are 3 speeches and then a transcription activity. They're all worth 150 points each. And after each one, except for the transcription activity, which is kind of like your final at the end of the class, it's really beneficial to you to schedule a meeting and meet with me one-on-one to review it. That will help your grade immensely in the class, because not only does it provide a little bit of a bonus, 10% bonus for doing it, which I'll share more later as the class goes on, but you actually improve so that your base points from each activity afterwards are a lot higher to start with. So very important to do those one-on-one reviews after each speech. All right. Technology and getting help, that has to do with the platforms and the channels that we're going to communicate through and manage the class. There's a quick video here. This video is on YouTube, but linked in our Google Classroom, which is linked in the announcement for this video, is another video that kind of runs through more details on how we use each piece of technology. So go check that out. I don't really want that to run. Okay. Lastly, in that first slide, I showed kind of the current world context where our communication channels are creating this environment where we talk a lot, communicate a lot within groups of people that agree with us. And I really don't care what range or spectrum or ideology any one of us sits on in that. We just need to be aware that our communication tools are having this net impact in our society. And we'll discuss how we can see that throughout the semester quite a bit, so that that's not just me telling you an opinion, but that you get to observe it in your own worlds. Okay. So our goal in this class, however, is to make it so we're not just adrift in those communication tools, which for very sound reasons are making us talk within our own groups, but so that we can break out of that, we can create more diverse networks that honor our differences, but let us be aware of how those differences also build similarities and shared values that we can work together on. So that's kind of the goal of the class. I'm really looking forward to working with each of you throughout the semester. If you have any questions or thoughts right away on this, please email me. My email is all over the syllabus. This document in the Google Slides version, and it is also rehum at alaska.edu. All righty. I will see and talk to you all later.